The horrific terror attack at Sydney's Bondi Beach, which has shocked the world. My first guest is from Sydney. Erin Molan is a leading Australian news television broadcaster. She runs her own show, the Erin Molan Show. Appreciate your joining us there, Erin. What are the latest you're hearing on that attack? It's 24 hours now. We are told an Islamic State link is emerging with the Pakistani father-son duo Sajid and Naveed Akram being linked to the Islamic State.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's come to light recently. And we've also discovered that the son in particular was being investigated 4 or 5 years ago for links as well to unsavory behavior, if you put it that way. It's been a very harrowing 24 hours, particularly for the eastern suburbs community here in Sydney and the Jewish community. And I'm not Jewish myself. I've chose to stand alongside them like most normal, decent people should have after October 7, and to condemn the terrorism that not only impacts their lives, but the lives of so many in the Middle East. And it's an ideology now that exists all over the Western world, and you in India have seen this terrorism firsthand as well. And I look at my country, a country that has not had a mass shooting in decades. We had one in Tasmania under the Prime Ministership of John Howard, arguably our greatest Prime Minister, and he clamped down hard on gun laws. And we have been spoilt for decades without something like this. Can I say that I'm surprised? No, that would be a lie. I'm not surprised. I'm shocked, I'm horrified, I'm terrified, to be honest. I've chosen to be a very public face to fight this kind of terrorism, not just on behalf of the Jewish community here in Australia, but on behalf of every decent Australian, which includes a large Indian population who have come to this country, embraced our way of life, maintained their own incredible culture and religion, but bought into what we believe and what we value. Yet we have people who have come to this country who feel the exact opposite. They've come here to destroy who we are and what we stand for. And it's a moment that was coming and has been coming for 2 years now. No one should be surprised.
But do we know anything more about the father-son duo who are behind this attack, Erin, their background? The son, as you said, was already being investigated. But they seem to escape the radar. Was there no serious attempt made by the Australian police over these years to find out potential links of people like the Akrams with Islamic State? Because questions are now being raised over policing policies in Australia and indeed immigration laws.
Absolutely. And look, there have been well prior to this, and there have been 2 or 3 press conferences with, the Minister, the Head of Home Affairs, also with the Chief of Police, also with the Prime Minister, and they're very cagey on this, and they are being asked. They're being asked multiple questions. They're being pushed on certain points. What we do know is that there are links to Islamic State. We don't know the extent of those links. We were told that the son was investigated 4 or 5 years ago by ASIO, but we're told that was because he was in proximity to other people as opposed to activity himself. But you tell me, even if someone is on your radar, even if it might just be a little thing here or there, nothing overly concrete, would you allow them to have a gun license and have 6 firearms? I mean, it's insanity. There are countries in the Middle East who deal with terrorism on a daily basis and have zero tolerance for any of it. Zero tolerance. Yet in Australia, we have this suicidal empathy where we let people into our country who don't share our values. And that's putting it politely. We're letting people into our country who want to kill us.
Do you think then, Erin, that this is a bit of a wake-up call? Australia prides itself on being a very open society. Are Australians shocked and enraged that terror has hit Bondi Beach of all places? Will this lead to a tightening of immigration policies, a relook at some of those gun control laws?
I think it has to lead to change, because I don't think we survive without change. I think moments like this, they force a country to look at itself, to really look at itself and determine who we are and what we stand for. And we've had issues with immigration when it comes to logistics. We don't have enough houses. We don't have enough, industry, looking at facilities and services. This is on a whole new level. a whole new level. I think it will. There's already talk about gun law changes, but we already have really tight gun laws. What we need to do and what's needed to happen since October 7, you look at what happened on that day, and this is when this rot and this decay really began in this country. 2 days later, outside the Opera House, we had people in this country, my country, our incredible nation, celebrate the largest loss of Jewish life since the Holocaust. We had people chanting, gas the Jews, F the Jews, where are the Jews? Did one of those people pay a price? And that wasn't free speech, that was hate speech. Did one of those people pay a price? No. Did the silent majority in my country stand up and say, not on our watch? No. Did our Prime Minister stand up and say, not under my leadership? No. We failed miserably. And then we saw an escalation at every corner. We saw synagogues firebombed. We saw cars set alight outside Jewish homes. We saw schools attacked, Jewish schools. We saw Jewish people attacked in the streets. We saw graffiti with slurs. We had hundreds of thousands of people march across our harbour bridge, images broadcast around the world, holding up Taliban flags, Hamas flags, chanting death to the Jews. Where was the silent majority in my country that is meant to find that abhorrent? They were silent. Where were our leaders? Completely silent. They were too busy placating sections of society that they thought they needed to suck up to win elections. Their job is to keep us safe, and they have failed. And it's not just this government. Immigration in this country has been flawed in recent times. It used to be amazing. We've had the most incredible people come to Australia. Diversity is the fabric of who we are. We've had incredible Indian Australians, Italian Australians, Chinese Australians come in who share our values and are grateful for the opportunity. But we've got to stop letting people in, i.e. thousands of people from Gaza we let into this country after October 7 to try and look like we were good people. Well, I'm sorry, but you need to care more about the lives of the people in this country than you do about looking good on the world stage to appeasing the leftist side of your party. So I think it will lead to significant change because it has to.
And yet, Erin, and you know, I share your anguish, and yet one of the heroes of what happened is Ahmed al-Ahmad, Syrian origin, disarmed very bravely one of the attackers. And therefore, the concern is that what happened in Australia, will it become about a specific religion? Or will it be seen that heroes and villains exist in every community? Is there an acknowledgement in Australia that for every Akram family, there's Ahmed al-Ahmad who risked his life to disarm the attackers? One engaged in unacceptable terrorism, Islamic terrorism, and Ahmed al-Ahmad, who is a total hero.
I love this so much. And this has been the basis of my argument since October 7. Has been Islamic extremism hurts Muslims more than it hurts anyone else. I grew up in Indonesia, the world's largest Islamic nation. I was raised in part by devout Muslim women who are like family to me. I go back to that country twice a year. I fight for Muslim kids as much as I fight for anyone else, and they hate this extremism as much as anyone else. And one thing I've been saying is we need more Muslim voices to condemn the extremism. And I know that's hard. I know that's hard in certain places. You can't say it at all. But in Australia, we have incredible Muslims, and we got to see one of the greatest in action today. And I love that. I think it's such a powerful story. And you're exactly right. It should never be about religion. Evil exists in every corner of society, in every religion, in every race, in every ethnicity. But we need to stamp out the kind of ideology that encourages it and that breeds it. And that is our issue here. But this man is a hero. He's incredible. And he is what Australia is about. He is the kind of person that comes to this country and will give his life, because he could have died. There is every chance. Not only did he tackle a man with a gun, he knew there was another bloke with a gun on a bridge that was about to turn his attention to him. That is impossible to fathom. He is a hero, and absolutely Australians are not racist. We're not bigoted. We deeply appreciated that, and he is being celebrated as he should be.
You know, in conclusion, as you've said, Karen, there's been a wave of anti-Semitism we've witnessed across the world, in Australia, that's gone unchecked. Will we now see a rising Islamophobia, and will that prove equally dangerous? Is that a real concern, a fear?
Look, it feels like every time there is an incident like this, people come out and start to talk about Islamophobia. There is no equivalence between the two, in my opinion, in Australia, and I say that as someone who speaks the language of the world's largest Islamic nation and cares deeply about Muslims. I don't think there is any equivalence at all. But any hate aimed at any group based on which God they pray to is unacceptable. Any hate. I don't care who or what it is, but what I would say to you at this stage, I think the focus needs to be on the victims there and on stamping it out entirely.
Erin, you know, you've spoken through your heart and you've made very strong points. It's been a pleasure talking to you there in Sydney. Thank you so much for joining us. What's been a very difficult 24 hours for the people of Sydney and Australia. Our thoughts and prayers with all the victims' families. Thank you so much for joining me here on India Today.
Thank you so much for having me, and you do a phenomenal show. I was looking at it earlier and you're brilliant. So thank you. It's a real honor to be on your show. Thank you so much.